Welcome to session 6. Our plan is to review homework, learn about post-traumatic growth, take the post-traumatic growth inventory, and consolidate gains. To consolidate something is to make it firm and stable, and to bring a number of things together into one unified whole. It is important that you walk away from trauma therapy with a solid set of tools, as well as a coherent narrative of your ongoing journey toward healing. Sometimes we're tempted to believe that trauma has ruined our lives. In recent years, we've learned much about the devastating effects of trauma, and while the information is true, it can become discouraging. We can start to feel like damaged goods. Fortunately, there's another field of research that brings out a different angle of the trauma story. You see, while it is true that trauma damages us, the damage is only part of the story. If we end at the damage chapter, we're not reading the rest of the book. The rest of the book says that not only is there life after trauma, and not only can a person's symptoms improve, but trauma can help people grow in ways they would not have grown otherwise. This field of research is called post-traumatic growth. It shows that if survivors approach it the right way, trauma can actually deepen people and make their lives more meaningful. Between 10% and 90% of people experience this. Here are some of the positive changes that come about as the result of post-traumatic growth. Number 1, personal strength. People can experience changes in their own self-perception, developing greater self-efficacy as they face new challenges. They can sometimes assume new roles and responsibilities. New possibilities, because trauma confronts a person with the fragility of life. They learn to seize the day and make the most of opportunities. Some dedicate their lives to helping others after trauma. Deeper relationships. Hard experience can teach us a deeper appreciation of our family and friends. Trauma can serve as a wake-up call, leading us to value the people in our lives. Appreciation of life. There's nothing like facing death. It can help us perceive life as more valuable. It can lead to a shift in priorities, to spending more time with loved ones, and to rising above the cares of life more effectively. And finally, spiritual renewal. Many trace their spiritual turning point to a traumatic event. This is because we often feel that God helped us survive physically and emotionally. Some even come to believe that trauma had a higher purpose in their lives. There's a inventory in your resource folder that helps you identify your level of post-traumatic growth in your areas that you can improve in. So make sure that you do that with your therapist or as homework. You can relate your post-traumatic growth score in several ways. Finding social support is key. People need to talk about, you can raise your post-traumatic growth score in several ways. Finding social support is key. People need to talk about their experiences. It's best if you find safe people who will let you cry if you need to or express other emotions. We call this emotional disclosure. That can help move us toward post-traumatic growth. And it's more important than we realize, that emotional disclosure piece. Spirituality also helps, but only if we see God as loving and benevolent. A punishing God image can have the opposite effect that we want. So look at the scriptures. Presents a loving God. Also, if we accept what happened, rather than always wishing it didn't, we will be able to grow more in the long run. To continue to focus on something that is not an option, we can't erase the past, raises our frustration level. It's better to say it is what it is. This is called acceptance coping. The scientists that have researched post-traumatic growth they caution us not to believe that post-traumatic growth will sweep away all the effects of trauma and give us a flight to health. Healing the damage of trauma can be a long, difficult, and slow process, but post-traumatic growth will help give meaning to that difficult process, keeping us from becoming discouraged. The Bible speaks often about post-traumatic growth. James says, the trying of your faith works patience. Paul said, tribulation works perseverance. He also said, for this light affliction, which is but for a moment, works for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Notice that in all these passages, we see the word works. This is katagazeroi in Greek, and it means work down to the end point. All these traumas accomplish something, bringing us down to the end point of being beautiful in the way that Jesus is beautiful. They may be uncomfortable, even excruciating, but they help us get to our end point of a sweet fellowship with saints, angels, and God for eternity. They prepare us for heaven and fit us to help others prepare. And we accept the harsh realities of being human on a very dangerous planet. And as we turn our brokenness over to God, He can take it in His capable hands and bring something good out of the broken pieces. So I want to help you consolidate your gains by asking these questions. What have you learned about trauma in this process? What coping skills have worked the best for you in this process? What situations can you now face that you weren't able to face before? What beliefs have you been able to change as the result of this process? What differences do you see in your subjective units of distress since the beginning? And what post-traumatic growth have you experienced as a result of this process? May God bless you. Thank you for being with me in this journey, and peace.